In this video, we're going to cover the substitution rule with definite integrals. So our substitution rule for definite integrals says that if g prime is continuous on the closed interval from a to b, and f is continuous on the range u equals g of x, then if you have something of this form, and again it's a definite integral, so you have limits from a to b, you have f of g of x times g prime of x dx. What's going to happen is we can convert these lower and upper limits by identifying an expression for u, and then you plug a and b into that expression so you convert your limits, while at the same time over here you have f of u du, and once you've converted everything with respect to u, you can then evaluate it, where the integral is going to be capital F of u, which is the antiderivative. Your limits have been converted, and then you plug in the upper limit minus plugging in the lower limit. This example says, evaluate the definite integral. For part A, we have the integral from 1 to 5, the square root of 2x minus 1 dx. So I also have a video on evaluating indefinite integrals using the substitution rule, so if you want to refer back to that, that can also be helpful, and I kind of explained what's going on over here with this graphic organizer. So here we have a composition of functions. Your outside function is the square root of x, the inside function is 2x minus 1. So again, when you have a composition of functions, in order to integrate, we're going to use the substitution rule. In order to do so, we're going to identify u. So u is the inside function. So in this problem, u equals 2x minus 1. Next, we're going to take the derivative of this implicitly with respect to x. The derivative of u is 1, but then we times by du dx. Over here, the derivative with respect to x is just 2. And then this is a proportion, so we're going to cross multiply. Again, with proportions, things move diagonally across the equal sign. So this dx is going to go up, and this 2 is going to go down. So we get that dx is equal to du over 2. And again, when we have a definite integral and we're doing u substitution, we now need to work with these limits. So right now, this is our lower limit and this is our upper limit. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to write up for upper and LO for lower. So we take our upper limit, which is 5, and what we do is we plug it in right here for x. So again, you take your upper limit and you plug that value in for x into the expression that we let u equal. So 2 times 5 is 10 minus 1 gives us 9. So that's going to be our new upper limit. We're going to do the same thing for the lower limit. So we're going to take this lower limit, we're going to take 1, we plug it in for x, into the expression that we're letting u equal. So 2 times 1 is 2, and then you take away 1 makes 1. So you can see the upper limit was 5 and it converted to a 9. The lower limit was 1, and then when we plugged it in, we also got out 1. So now we're going to plug all of this in over here. So we plug in our new upper and lower limits, and again, the upper limit became 9, the lower limit stayed the same. We're plugging u in for 2x minus 1, and then dx equals du over 2. So instead of dx, we're going to write du divided by 2. Next, we're going to pull this 2 to the front and make it a 1/2, and then I wrote the square root of u as u to the 1/2. So now we're ready to integrate. Okay, so we drop down the 1/2. The integral of u to the 1/2, remember you're adding 1, so you get 3 halves. And then we divide by this new exponent, which is the same as timesing by its reciprocal. So first I want to take this 2/3 and multiply it by 1/2. So when you do so, you get 1/3. And then at this point, we're going to take 9 and plug it in for u minus 1 plugging in for u. And I made a note over here. I said, when you convert limits, so again, like this process right here where we converted 5 and 1 to 9 and 1, when you convert limits, do not plug u back in. So again, you plug u back in when we're doing indefinite integrals, that's your last step. But here, when we've converted our limits, you don't plug u back in. So instead, you take the limits that you've converted and you plug them straight in for u. So you can see I have 9 to the 3/2 minus 1 to the 3/2. And now we can simplify this to get our final answer. Remember, to evaluate this right here, you do the square root of 9, which is 3, and then 3 cubed is 27. And 1 to the 3/2 is just 1. So our final answer is 26 divided by 3. This example says the integral from 0 to 1 of x times the quantity x squared plus 1 cubed dx. This integral is a definite integral, and right here you have a composition of functions, so we're going to use the substitution rule. We also call it u substitution. And for the substitution rule, our first step is to identify u. Again, we're going to let u equal the inside function. So u equals x squared plus 1. Next, we take the derivative of this implicitly with respect to x. The derivative of x squared plus 1 with respect to x is going to be 2x. And then this is a proportion, so we'll bring the dx up and we'll move the 2x down. So we get that dx is equal to du over 2x. Next, we're going to convert our upper and lower limits. So we're going to take our upper limit, we're going to take 1 and plug it in right here for x. So you get 1 squared plus 1, and that equals 2. And for our lower limit, we're going to take 0 and plug it in right here, and you end up getting 1. So we're ready to plug this all in. So our upper limit is now 2 and our lower limit is 1, so I put 2 and 1. We're going to drop down this x because that's the rigged part of the problem. We're going to plug in u, so we get u to the third power, and then dx is equal to du over 2x. So again, this worked out great because this is the rigged part of the problem, and when we took the derivative of u, it generated a 2x. So that means this x and this x will be able to cancel out. Next, we're going to pull this 2 to the front as a 1/2. So now we have 1/2 the integral from 1 to 2 of u cubed du. And we're ready to integrate because everything has been converted, so that's with respect to u. So I'm going to drop down this 1/2. The integral of u cubed is going to be u to the 4th, 1/4. And then our limits are 1 to 2. Sorry guys, everyone always says my u's start to look like n's, so I'll try to be careful. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to pull this 1/4 to the front, making it a 1/8. And then again, because this is a definite integral and because we converted our limits, we don't need to plug u back in. Instead, we just take these converted limits and plug them straight in for u. So we plug in 2 minus plugging in 1. 2 to the 4th is 16. 1 to the 4th is 1. So we end up getting 15 over 8. This example says the integral from 1 to e of ln of x over x dx. This problem's a little unique because we don't have a composition of functions. So what we're going to do is we're going to let u equal the numerator. Then when we take the derivative, we get du dx equals, and the derivative of ln of x is 1 over x. So what happens at this point is we're going to cross multiply. So when we cross multiply, this dx comes up to the right, and this x comes up to the left. So we get that dx equals x times du. Next, we're going to convert our upper and lower limits. So our upper limit right now is e. We're going to take e and plug it in for x into the expression we're letting u equal. And ln of e equals 1. Next, we take 1 and plug it in for x, and ln of 1 is 0. Now we're ready to plug everything in over here. Remember, we're plugging u in for ln of x, so we go u over, and then this is going to be the rigged part of the problem, so we're just going to drop it down. And then in place of dx, we're going to put x times du. And again, because the derivative of ln of x is 1 over x, which then when we rewrote this, it brings the x up, and so now these x's cancel. And we're ready to integrate. I'm going to pull this 1/2 to the front. And again, because we converted our upper and lower limits, we don't plug the u back in. Instead, we just take the converted limits and we plug them straight in for u. So our final answer is 1/2. This example says the integral from 0 to 2 of 1 over x squared minus 1 dx. Before we attempt this problem, I want to look at these limits. It goes from 0 to 2, and then we have this function 1 over x squared minus 1. If you'll notice, this function does not exist at 1 and -1 because that would make the denominator equal to 0. And since 1 is in the interval from 0 to 2, we can't do this problem. Okay, so I wrote it out. Let f equal the function 1 over x squared minus 1. We know that f has vertical asymptotes at x equals plus or minus 1. X equals 1 is in the closed interval from 0 to 2. Therefore, f is not continuous on that closed interval. And therefore, we have that the integral from 0 to 2 of 1 over x squared minus 1 dx does not exist. This example says find the area under the given curve over the interval from 0 to 1, and our curve is y equals e to the negative 3x. So remember, the graph of e to the x looks like this. So once you have a negative up here in front of the x, that reflects the graph across the y-axis. And then when you have a 3, that just makes it a little more stretched out. So here's a general sketch of the graph of e to the negative 3x. And we want to find the area under this curve from 0 to 1. So to set this up, we're going to go integral from 0 to 1 of e to the negative 3x dx. Again, this definite integral represents the area under this curve from 0 to 1. To evaluate this integral, because we have a composition of functions, this is the inside function, the outside function is e to the x, we're going to use u substitution. So we let u equal negative 3x. We take the derivative, we get du dx equals negative 3. And then we rewrite the proportion. So the dx comes up to the right, the negative 3 comes down to the left. So you get that dx is equal to du over negative 3. And next we're going to convert our upper and lower limits. We have 1 for our upper limit. We're going to plug it in right here for x. So we get -3. Then we take 0 and plug it in for x, and we still get 0. And now we're going to plug everything in. Before we do anything, I want to switch these limits because right now they're out of order. Remember, usually your lower limit is left on the number line, and then your upper limit is usually right on the number line. So again, bring out a negative, and then the limits get flipped, so -3 goes to the bottom, 0 to the top. And then also I'm going to bring this -3 to the front. When we bring it to the front, it's going to be a -1/3, but there's already a negative, so the two negatives are going to become +1/3. And now we're ready to integrate. The integral of e to the u is e to the u. And remember one more time, because we converted our limits, we do not plug u back in. Instead, we just take the upper limit and plug it straight in for u, minus plugging in the lower limit straight in for u. And next, e to the 0 equals 1. So our final answer is 1/3 times the quantity 1 minus 1 over e to the 3rd. Our next definition is integrals of symmetry. It says, suppose f is continuous on the closed interval from -a to +a. If f is even, so it has the property that f of -x is equal to f of x, then we have the integral from -a to a of f of x dx is going to be equal to 2 times the integral from 0 to a of f of x dx. So I have a diagram over here of an example of a function that's even. So integrating from -a all the way to +a, you can see that these areas are the same. That would be the same as only integrating from 0 to a and then timesing it by 2. So that's what this is stating right here. If your function is odd, and again it has the property that f of -x is equal to -f of x, then when you integrate from -a to a of f of x dx, you just get 0. And you can see right here is an example of an odd function. Integrating from -a to a, this area is the same as this one, it's just this one's below the x-axis, this is above. So this would have an area that's negative, and this area would be positive, so they'd cancel out, and it just gives you 0. This example says to evaluate the definite integral from -2 to 2 of x to the 4th minus 2 dx. So we're going to say that f is equal to x to the 4th minus 2. To check whether this function is even or odd, we're going to plug in -x for x. And when we do so, -x to the 4th is going to be positive x to the 4th. And then I just dropped down the minus 2. When we plugged in -x and we simplified, we just got the original function, f of x. And I wrote that out, since f of -x equals f of x, then we know that f of x is an even function. So by the definition of integrals of symmetry, since f is even, that means integrating from -a to +a is the same as timesing by 2 and integrating from 0 to a. So instead of integrating from -2 to +2, we're going to bring out a 2, and then we're going to integrate from 0 to 2. We don't have a composition of functions, so we don't need to use the substitution rule to integrate, so we're just going to integrate this definite integral. So I dropped the 2 down. The integral of x to the 4th is 1/5 x to the 5th. The integral of -2 is -2x, and then I rewrote our limits as 0 to 2 over here. So now we're going to take 2 and plug it in, and then minus plugging in 0. So I plugged 2 in right here, minus, and plugged in 0 right here. So 2 to the 5th is 32, and then it's still divided by 5, minus, and we have 4 here, and then this becomes just minus 0. And when you simplify, you get 24 over 5. This example says the integral from -π/2 to +π/2 of x squared sine of x over 1 plus x squared dx. So we're letting f equal this entire expression, and we want to check if this function is even or odd. So we're going to plug in -x for all of the x's. So we have -x squared, and that just equals x squared. Right here we have sine of -x. Sine is an odd function, so sine of -x equals negative sine of x. So I just rewrote this as negative sine of x. And then in the denominator, we have 1 plus x squared. So finally, when we multiply these, this negative is just going to come to the front. Again, a positive times a negative is a negative. And again, with fractions, if you have a negative numerator, that's the same as just negative and then the whole entire fraction. And you can see when we plug in -x, we're getting negative and then the original function. So this is negative f of x. So I wrote it out, since f of -x equals negative f of x is an odd function. And according to the definition for integrals of symmetry, if f is an odd function, then the integral from -a to a of f of x dx equals 0. So this definite integral just equals 0. This example says, which of the following is equal to the integral from -π/2 to +π/2 of cosine of x dx? So first I want to look at the function, f of x is equal to cosine of x. So when we plug in -x for x, we get cosine of -x. And cosine is an even function, so this is just going to be equal to cosine of x, which is the original function f of x. So since f of negative x equals f of x, then f is an even function. Therefore, the original definite integral is equal to 2 times the integral from 0 to pi over 2 of cosine of x dx. So our answer is D. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching!